Good morning from Yummy B TV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you as usual. Now, before I go into a couple more videos today, also to let you know that I've been doing more mainstream TV this week, and what a challenging project coming up on that show around June, July. I'll keep you posted on that, but for obvious reasons, I can't say too much yet. Now, many of you have been asking me over a period of time about the book, my book now that I've started, that will be called Hopelessly Lost. And apart from probably many of my early followers and those that have followed me for quite some time will know that really that's what I was to that life that I succumbed to with the institutionalized stuff and criminal behavior, etc., etc. But surprisingly, there is a story to the title that I'll let you know now. I'll probably let a few of you know in the early days, but it was about 1988. I was in Brixton, Pat Tate, Squeaky McCann, Jimmy Daly, Delroy Showers, Gary Staggs, Steve O'Connor. Everyone was there at that time when I was just coming out of the YPs and starting my adult journey during that 2-3 year period up until 88. But I spent most of my life in jail from 81 anyway, with a few weeks out in between. But I ended up going to Crown Court for 3 charges. It was either, I think it might have been at Snaresbrook or Suffolk, I can't remember which. Oh no, it was Snaresbrook. Now, my barrister, Caroline Wright, what a lovely lady she was. I turned up there and there was a judge called Judge Goldstein, right? And she begged him to give me a chance because everything had been in custody up until that point. He said, okay then. He goes, I'm gonna, remand it for drug rehabilitation purposes, right? This was the only time that I nearly got a rehab, right? But it was too early in my life at that time as well. So I was doing cocaine powder also at that time for the first time. So I appeared back in front of him with Mrs. Wright there. She persuaded him to give me that one chance, but the rehab representative was in the courtroom. So after Judge Goldstein let me out to go there for like a 4-week assessment and then to come back to see how I've been behaving and that kind of stuff, right? I left with the geezer to get to the train station, and it's meant to be quite far, right? I think it was called Suffolk House, the drug rehabilitation. I think Princess Diana, rest in peace, was a patron of it. Now, I diverted from him at the train station. Oh, yummy. I legged it. I just said to him, yeah, listen, he goes, well, it's up to you, but if I was you, I would come, because he's meant to escort me back to the rehab. So I said, no, I've gone. And the old familiar tale during that time with the stuff that, the being not out much in life. I wanted to spend more time out, getting up to the badness that I'd always done at that time. So I'm on the run, basically. So I ended up staying at a friend's house. And I was up to no good. And then one night I was over Hyde Park, right, after being out about 3 or 4 weeks, right, really lonely at that time, succumbing to the streets, nowhere really to go, familiar tale in them early years for me, right? But I ended up doing a burglary in Hyde Park, right? I climbed up this drain pipe, sadly. I went through a window, and the alarm was going off, but I was in diplomat territory with the kind of houses they were, right? But I didn't know at the time. But once I was in the house, the alarm went off after about 10, 20 seconds, and it was really loud, and it was late at night, right? So I'm running about frantically. I can't really find anything, but I found what I thought was either white gold or silver trinket. But I didn't look at it properly, but I just put it in my pocket. That's how it was during those days, unfortunately. And got back out the window, came down the scaffolding and came out. But I could hear the alarm on the streets whilst I was walking down by Hyde Park, right? Sorry. And I'm thinking, my heart's beating. I'm thinking, wow, you're red, aren't you? I walked about 100 yards down the road, and a dog van, a police van, was driving past, and they said, yeah, hold on, still there. Gordon Bennett, my heart was beating, right? They stopped me, started to search me, and they found the little trinket in my pocket. And on the trinket was, unfortunately, the apartment or the penthouse burglary that I just did, where the alarm was going off. But I didn't know that the dog van was going to investigate that alarm very quickly, which shows you the kind of people that probably were living there. But anyway, he looked at the trinket and he said, but hold on, on the trinket, it had the address of the place where the alarm was going off. And he went, right, stay there, boom, boom, boom. Boom, that's where that alarm's coming from. Imagine that beat, the stamp, the irony of that, the stamp of the address of the bell that's going off there. I was so dejected, right? I was back in custody. I think it was around Christmas Eve or something, and I ended up in Scrubs, right? So not only have I broke the order from, you know, my first ever rehab, in only rehab that I didn't go to at that time, I got a new charge as well, plus those 3 other charges that, you know, he gave me the chance to come out of. So they brought me into Scrubs, and then one morning they came for me. They said, look, you're going to have to go to Crown Court to face the, you know, Judge Goldstein again. And blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, boy, I'm hoping for a 3 or 4 or 5, right? Because I knew I was in deep, deep trouble. But when I got to the courthouse, something unbelievable happened. I went upstairs. Caroline Wright was there. She was just shaking her head at me. She said, Samson. I said to her, she stood up to talk to Judge Goldstein. And he said, look, all of you sit down. You persuaded me with your eloquence last time, Mrs. Wright, so I won't be listening to you again. And he went like that. Stand up, please, Samson. I had my hands behind my back. You know what's coming now. He goes, I don't know why I'm going to do this today, but I believe that you're hopelessly lost in the big wide world, and I don't know why I'm going to do this. And everybody was looking around the court at each other. But I'm going to do it because you've never had a chance. And if you break this, it will be the end for you. He goes, I'm going to give you a suspended sentence for 2 years, for 2-year prison sentence for 2 years. But if you come back, it will be 4, 5, and 6. I nearly fainted in the dock. She looked at me in complete shock. Mrs. Wright, Judge Goldstein. I walked out, got back up to my old tricks, and got nicked straight away. And then that was the time I went to jail after that. That was when I got the Queen's pardon. But I was just thinking about that, hopelessly lost this morning. My author's going to be pleased. But that's how I got the title from that experience there. Coming up very shortly. Sending loads of love to you all.